Okay, here's one for you. Y'all know when you go down the highway or the motorway or the carretera and you run into these toll booths where you have to stop and pay your money? Well, I was just always curious about how much money is being taken in on these roads that the people already done paid for, because the no bid contracts that are given to, like, let's say down here in it, let's just say between Mexico and the Americas, this all goes to this one guy, his, what they call, what's his name? Oh, I forget his name now. Oh gosh, I'll think of it here in a minute. He's he's the guy that owns Carso, and um, it doesn't matter what the guy's name is anyway. He's almost dead, but well, he is the Walking Dead, but I mean, he's gonna be taken out of the skin suit here pretty soon. Um, but he gets all the no bid contracts to put in all of the motorways. Let's say, for instance, he's all the cement and concrete factories and all the contracts to do all that. Right? He's got his hands in everything. Carlos Slim, that's his name. um, so he's out there getting the no bid contracts to do this. But where's the money come from? Is Carlos paying for it? Nope. The IMF is paying for it, or some central banker that's like the Asian Infrastructure Investment Bank is paying for it. And they're fronting the money, and then the debt is owed back to the central bank by way of the enslavement of the rest of us who pay the taxes to, in theory, pay back the debt, which you can never pay back. So, we basically pay for the highways. So why are they charging us to go on there? So that they say, well, look, it's because if you have any problems, you can call this number right here, and that'll provide you with the emergency services you need on the carretera. Really? Well, what happened to the police? What happened to the fire department? What happened to the ambulance and the first responders that we can get just anywhere? Why do they have to be, special ordered and paid for by way of our tolls on the roads? Okay, fine. Let's just roll with that for a second. So let's figure out then how much are being taken in on these roads on these carreteras at the toll booths. So I mapped out the number of highways, the number of miles of highways running through Mexico, and I compared it to a control group, which was my personal experience of having driven from, like, say, San Pancho to Guadalajara and back, and what was my tolls that I paid on the road for that distance to go. And then I, applied that control group to the rest of the country's maps, based on however many miles is running through the country of the carreteras. And then, of course, factored into it because the trucks pay one amount, the cars pay another amount, and the motorbikes pay another amount. So I had to come up with a median, there. So it wasn't any small task to kind of come up with the data to put some statistics behind this and give it some, understanding. So once I finished this, I came up with an extremely conservative estimate, and that was the amount that they're taking in on the tolls in Mexico alone was 1.5 trillion pesos per day. I believe that would come out to, golly, I want to say a couple hundred, about $170 billion a day in U.S. I think that would be per day, 365 days a year. So I'm just saying, if I had that money instead, like if somebody gave me just one day's income that they collected on the toll roads in just Mexico, I could get together with the right people and the material and the resources and the labs to develop the prototypes to have anti-gravity vehicles gone to market in less than a year. Um, Likewise for electromagnetic high-speed rail, that plan could be implemented and funded immediately. Of course, then it would just take the time that they have to put the vehicles, the the right kind of vehicles on the tracks. But we could go from one side of the country at 600 miles an hour. I could come up with all kinds of ways, besides pouring concrete, to drive our combustion engine vehicles over the concrete that we paid for, that and now we're being stopped at and asked to pay. Where's money going? Just saying. Because boy, I sure would like to have some of that, and then we could come up with some real solutions, and we wouldn't be in debt to a central banker to pay for the infrastructure investment that they made in our country. In other words, Mexico, China wouldn't have you by the cojones. Think about it. Ciao for now.